enjoy solving hard problems. I don't know why. And every day, nice, sweeter, easier things to do with my life, but it's those hard ones that will say, I must go there. When people call me like, oh, I'm in a bind, I'm thinking of what to do. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what bind? Already, like the answers are right in front of me. And so when I tell my friends, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. I'm like, okay. Like, for me, it's normal. And I think it's just how I was wired, exactly. I did release a song. You will never hear about it somewhere.
On the internet? On this same internet?
You will never hear about it. But anyway, I did release a song.
Temitope Ekundayo is co-founder and head of growth at GetEquity, a platform for investors and companies to trade digital securities and assets. He's an entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in technology, consulting, marketing, telecoms, social impact, and print production, aiding business growth.
I was born this way. It's not my fault. If I'm going to take any matter off, it's not my parents. It's obviously God. I rushed to DM. So I think Yomi gave me patience, and I think that's one thing I love about it. It taught me a lot. You know, most people like to say that a lot of funding is going to fintech, right? Have you actually checked the grant programs that exist? Literally almost all the grant programs are going to agriculture, health, and grill industry. And they are also competitively not like small amounts.
Yeah, sizable amounts.
They are sizable amounts. $250,000, $100,000, $140,000. I see a lot of those things. Every time I'll go, I see grant.
Borders shouldn't be barriers. Limitations shouldn't define potential. That's why we're evolving. Rainest and GitPay are now one. Empowering you to receive, save, and spend money anywhere in the world. Whether you're a freelancer, entrepreneur, startup, or a growing business, our platform is built to help you thrive locally and globally. Our new identity reflects on continued commitment to making finance seamless, connected, and borderless. One account, endless possibilities. Your money, your rules. We're making it easier than ever for your money to go wherever you need it. Building a future where Africans succeed in the global economy. Rainest, rebanking the next generation of African builders, thinkers, and doers.
So you've done a lot, and you've lived a very full life in terms of like your career. You've done a number of things. What are the different experiences? What's that have led you to this path? What are different experiences you've had, both in terms of growing up, family, education, career? Just take us through, like
My
for someone to
journey.
understand you, right?
All right, I think it's a very good, very good question. I think my journey has been, I've said it most times, but uh, I got into entrepreneurship from first principles. Basically, I'll say I grew up in a fairly entrepreneurial family. My mom um, does a lot of trading, so she buys and sells stuff. She's a nurse, so she goes to buy a lot of different things. I handhold items, both with Balogu market, all of that. But then also we run a poultry and agric farm. Like if you come to our house, it's like a full-on farm because there's quite a lot of things that she used to run, and I worked with her. My dad also is a chemical engineer by training. I used to read his books. I got a lot of curiosity, and he does a lot of oil and gas consulting and all. So I think it came up from a fairly entrepreneurial family. Um, and my journey started basically, I wanted to be an astronaut. Yeah.
At what age was that?
Uh,
At what age was that?
that was 9. And
Okay.
I used to sit down watching Discovery, National Geographic. I was a big fan of that. So, and my dad used to give me like encyclopedia. But that I read a lot of those things. So I loved reading. I had natural curiosity, I think, growing up. And so I then decided, okay, what's closest? I think I got tricked somehow to see geology because I was reading something around geophysics, study of the earth, and all of that. And there's no astronomy. There's no cost anybody doing that. So I might as well do the next best thing. And it's also because I liked what my dad did. So I kind of started looking at, I didn't really like to want to do the chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I was not going to the medical side where my mom was from.
What
So
did they say?
geology was the option. I think in school, my earliest entrepreneurship stuff started in primary school. I used to sell sweets. It's called Amaria. If I grew up in Port Harcourt, so it's called Amaria. It's a very interesting candy, right? That had different colors, round colors. So I used to buy in bulk and resell, and so I became like a go-to person people buy from there. But after that, I went to Navy, Nigerian Navy Secondary School. I pretty much was the same. It was pretty good. I think we blazed through that part up to university. At university, I was quite, will I call it, restless. So I actually interestingly wanted to do quite different things. So I got involved in rapping, if you will. I started going to the studio, just being with people and friends. I did release a song. You will never hear about it. It's somewhere.
On the internet? On this same internet?
You will never hear
Oh,
about it.
voila.
But anyway, I did release a song with a friend, David. It was great.
David.
His name is David.
Not
This David, but like a friend with David, not Davido, but anyway, his name is David. And after like along that time, I was also involved in quite a lot of different things. So I was doing parties, hangouts, events,
yeah.
things I like. You guys
Seem
know
like
I
that
do.
guy, yeah.
So it's basically just been doing all of those things around. I then joined a student organization called ISEC, and I think that's one of the best things that helped me. Partly because my sister was also an ISEC. And what is ISEC? It's the largest student youth-led run organization in the world. It's 177 countries, over 2,500 campuses worldwide. So you have different branches of people, and essentially what we do is teach youth leadership, right? And teaching youth leadership, right, is a case whereby we're impacting society to projects we do. We're doing exchange programs where we're going to outside the country and coming and are getting people to come work on multiple different projects for us. Along that line, when I joined ISEC, although I joined ISEC because I saw my sister traveling, right? So I said, let me travel too. But I think getting there changed my worldview totally because one, it was the best time as a young person around 19, I was meeting 19-year-olds from around the world in 170 countries. The thought process, the framework exposed me to like, oh, there's something way out there. Like people are doing quite a lot of things. And I think that interested. So you know what? I think I need to find like to hear from people, to find my calling. So during our conferences, we had something called BHAG, which is Big Hairy Audacious Goal, right? And I said I want to set a big, hairy, audacious goal for myself. I would like to see how I can solve people's problems, right? And the best way I could do is get smarter, right, in a lot of different things. So I started basically doing consultation. So I would read up on things, I'll practice it, I'll action it, it would work. And people start coming to me, oh, you're the go-to guy. I need this thing, I need that. And I'll
Need
always,
what? Sorry. Like
huh?
what? You said need. What did they need?
Sometimes people will come that they need a business plan,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And I'll draft up a business plan because I'm
Okay.
quick and fast in writing or thinking. And mostly because I was experimenting on some of all those things. So some did work, right? In school, like food run around many different.
Food
It
business.
was like I said, I was just very open to try out new things. That's the best way I'll put it. And at that time, there was this. So Isaac then got a partnership with a university called Sussex. Sussex is one of the global university in Brighton, yeah. And so we did an idea challenge, and I put that was the first time I now put this thing that will be later known as Endeavor Interactive into paper. I wrote a plan, I submitted it. Over 1,800 people around the country applied, and we were three people who were basically top three. Abigail, who runs just a fashion outfit that she still runs today. Interesting. Yusuf, who joined Veritasi as co-founder, right? He's the chief marketing officer, and me, right? So that's where our journey in it. Again, one of the journeys entrepreneurship started. So I went to the UK, went to go study a bit of short exchange program. I came back, but before I came back, I also had opportunity to start interacting with a lot of business owners, like thinking of how they were going to scale and grow. And a lot of the lessons I learned in school, I started applying it in those businesses, which are friends. Now, one of my friends, Fedin Ademefe, was in Port Harcourt. He was moving to Lagos, and he called me up like, "Hey, Tokwe, I have this big idea. I'm trying to build out a vast thing company." And I'm like,
Vast.
"Vast, which is value added
Okay,
service
value added
company in
service.
telco."
Okay.
I've never worked in a telco business. I do not know anything about it. But I was like, it sounds interesting, right? Let me join on it. And so that's how I joined that company, and together with him, me and few others, can Benga and two others I can't remember now. Lucky, who was the content lead. We started building out content because the way vast companies work is you put out products that you will sell to
Yeah.
the telco
Telcos.
companies, and if they buy in your idea, then they would integrate you on the on their network and distribute it.
The
Then
people
you
will
guys
know
split
that.
profits.
Yeah.
That's the model. So um interesting thing is it's not even about you can get the idea. The headache is in the integration. So when you're starting integration, if you start integration and they're sending, because they're going to be sending your content to some test numbers, and if it fails, it starts all over again. And this thing takes weeks, sometimes months. So you pray to God that that doesn't fail.
So they've accepted it, but it's just not integrating.
They need to be sure that it integrates well when you send out, because you are going to be linked to a system that you can broadcast content with. So you need to be sure that it's all like the thing delivers, messages delivers, all of that. They will do a lot of testing
Before they accept.
before they accept the product. So you first need to pitch, then provide the financials to that product, because again, remember, they are doing a
Business
split.
case.
They need to see that it's going to be, there's customer demand, all of that. And so those are the things that started the earliest days for me. Research, right? Finding out that if customers wanted this product or not. It's if people wanted to buy it, if there was interest, and a lot of things. But the good thing was the telcos were willing to help because they needed strategic partners. So they were even telling you places to places you should target. Like,
Yeah.
there's no content up north. Do something for that region, or southwest. There is really, we need you to do this. So all of those things kind of helped, giving us. They won't tell you exactly what to do, but they'll just point you in a like around these product areas will make sense for us at the early days. These days they won't even tell you, right? Well, at the earliest days they were looking for partners, so
Yeah.
the more the merrier. But I think we were able to grow that business, and actually it then went on to bet or pivot twice. When we grew, we started growing fast. We then noticed that many people started coming to the
Yeah.
system.
Bus.
So at that point in time, I think where I knew it was going to be bad was when I woke up one Sunday and I got 4 messages from different people. I text that like, okay, there's going to be something wrong. So in my own natural hebe, I told them like, oh, we need to find opportunities. And also Fedi was thinking in that line. And he started thinking that, oh, he wants to open an animation company.
Mm.
At those times of thinking, I was like, you know what, I think I've achieved what I needed to do here, so it was good to go, and I left. And that company that will come, like, will pivot after, is now still in existence, called Magic Carpets. It's quite a popular brand. So that's end of that chapter. Moving on, I then went to NYSC. In NYSC, I decided to work for a school.
It's you did all of this when as a student, or
I know I'd finished uni. I
but you
just
just did
finished
not
uni,
go.
but I not had served yet.
So you just kind of
I
deferred.
no, when I came back from the UK, I started working for Verdi.
Oh, okay.
Just
Oh,
then I went for a service. The
okay.
service now took me um to work for a school. Now for the school, I actually wanted to teach. Just again, I was very young. That's why I said youthful exuberance. I was just energy everywhere. I wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted to teach, so I got into school, and interestingly, I helped them start figuring out how to sell the school.
Get more pupils.
Huh?
Get
Getting
more.
more pupils, and it's true party. We figured out that yes, we basically had they were thinking about summer school, and I was noticing that in the estate there's quite a lot of affluent people. They're like jeeps dropping their children off. Like,
Which
maybe
state is that?
it's in Naja.
Okay, Lagos. You said.
Yeah, I served
Oh,
in
you said
Lagos,
Lagos. Okay, okay.
so it's
Context.
affluent. I'm like in the estate. I'm like, who knows? Let's try, right? Because the school was inside the estate, so I think we just went knocking around with our flyers to say, hey, we're doing a party if your children will be interested. And they're like, oh, cool, yeah. And then the children went, and after the summer party at school, they said they don't want to go back to their old school. That's what the parents were now like, what did we do? We just. But I think that was a very good strategy. It worked for us, and we acquired like a lot of students. I grew up from there. But
The
again,
stage.
I did serve and left. And then
Did you try on that party? Oh, that was it. Okay, it's 1 year actually.
it was
so
1 year, right?
yeah.
So I didn't, but I did come for their
End of
gift prize giving day. They
Yeah.
invited me. I did make a speech. We did win an award.
What did you teach though?
Huh?
What did you teach?
What did I teach? I taught geography. I
course.
taught maths, English. I taught science, business studies. So yeah, it was again, it wasn't a problem for me. I loved it. I'm happy that the children did enjoy what I taught. I think so. But then after that, we moved on to. I think it was now at this time I also started doing quite a lot of random projects for friends, designing here, branding there, strategy here. Also, friend had an agency that was starting out. I was helping them do quite a lot of gigs. So it was at that point I was now saying, you know what, I have quite a lot of sizable projects I have done for people, right? I should just go set up on my own, right? But I decided to pause. I was thinking about it, and I said, you know what, first let me just get a business card, and maybe if I go out, I might get people interested in this. So I started searching for a place to print it online, and I couldn't find anywhere easy. And because in the UK I use Moom, I use some services there. So interestingly, I was randomly searching and talking about it. Then I met Printivo and I loved it. I'm like, like I need to meet the owner. So did a search online and then kind of started chatting online or asking people, and then they mentioned Yomi, like he's a co-founder, and I rushed to his DM. So I think Yomi gave me the patience, and I think that's one thing I love about him. He taught me a lot. I won't lie about that. I basically had reached out. I would love to work for him.
Oh.
And
What happened? I thought you were looking. I thought you wanted to print a card to start your own.
yeah, but again, like I said, that's one thing about my time. When I was younger, anything that caught my fancy, I took it very 100%. Like the way I was always taking, people were like, Nami get idea the way you did, like, so I think I had that positive energy and drive. So I felt, look, I know a lot of business. I have fairly good contacts, right, built in the agency space. I think I can handle this? What do you need? What kind of support or help? And it's like they're also starting up. They're just also thinking of someone that could come handle the business end of things. They had one or two people at then, but like need someone full time. I'm like, I'm your guy, right? And the rest is history, basically. We basically grew that business and drove it with all we could, scaled it to where it is now. But over the time, one thing is, as you speak to contacts, as you grow, you start meeting different ecosystems of business people,
Yeah.
everyone talking about the thing. I think one misunderstood misconception is that building businesses is rosy or is sweet. It is hard, it is painful, it is dramatic, it is it is not for the faint-hearted. It is always one problem or the other. You're literally problem solving all you all your life, literally. But that's the gains, that's the risk. So there's a risk, there's a reward. Because you're taking all of these pains, at the end of the day, you gain a lot. You learn a lot, you lose a lot, you make mistakes a lot. Right? A lot. And all of these combinations help you become better because sometimes when you do fail and you decide to go back to paid employment, there's a difference, right, in how you approach other people's businesses sometimes, right? So, and that's just um something I want to point out to people, right? That building businesses is not a walk in the park. You need to be ready. And also I advise that, like everything in life, go to a business school. I did, and I'm going to more, right? I've been to AMI, that's African Management Institute, and I'm doing other certifications. But because you learn the thing you know, there's a name for it,
Mm.
right? To learn it. And exactly. So just like everything you in media, for example, you write and you do a lot of editing. There's a name for how you do
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
maybe someone fresh out starting out may not know.
That's it.
Yeah. They will just call it, it's natural to them, but you know that there's a system and process
Yeah.
that it's called. And so that's just one of the important is more as possible, get trained in it. Even if you are going to pick up, most time people say just start. And this is what I want to counter with, don't just start, right? Start properly with a plan, right? And a plan, again, not 60-page full scar plan. No, it can be as simple as just a page, but it is the direction that is setting
Yeah.
what you are going to do. But don't plan haphazardly. The reason for having a bit of plan and doing a bit of research, um, and I think I'm going straight into your other question, which is great,
It's fine. It's fine.
is that one, so today most people actually start businesses because of some noticed opportunities or gut feeling, right? When you drill down to
Yeah.
speak to founders like I have over the years, it's a case of, I think this idea would work because I have noticed this thing. I've noticed this. Just so, for example, if you ask the people who started, which name any business, let's say, or maybe you don't want to name any business
No,
for
it's
anything.
fine. No, we can
So
name
let's
it.
say we want to talk about people like Chowdeck,
Yeah.
right? So let's say Kennedy and Femi, why they started their business. And when you hear them, is the fact where we're busy professionals in our daily life. We work for a business, we're daily professionals, and we need to get food. And we'd have to leave what we're doing, rush off to um, stand in a queue, maybe spend 30 minutes of our time, come back. We've wasted an hour in productive time where we could just in one
Order.
place make a request and all. So that was a gap they noticed. They started speaking to friends, and friends started validating that gap
Yeah.
and it became a need. And maybe people might say, oh, it came from because they were in a circle that had the same problem or whatnot. But let's also look at cases like sometimes people open supermarkets. When they open a supermarket in this area, right? Did they just open it? Like sometimes people feel like, okay, why does that supermarket just cash out? And the one 2 streets down doesn't, right? Why? And it's because the people, and I can bet you, if you speak to both founders, the people who are cashing out have done what we call a market research. And a market research is already answering if there will be a traffic in this area as against that area, where you might cite this product place in a particular place street. How many estates, for example, are in Lekki Phase 1 that can confidently be able to afford food of your pricing? Depends on what your pricing point may look like. Would it make sense to make your restaurant 24/7 as against 9 to 5 or 6 to 8 or only Fridays only? Right? Would it make sense? Like, how many of the young people that are in that place, how many of these young people are above a particular age or drive a particular? That is what market research is. You are asking, checking, validating, reviewing, and by the time you put into a consultative plan, what you find out is that, oh, this restaurant or this supermarket I wanted to cite here, it's better I cite it there. I make it 24/7. I stock it up with mostly fresh foods, because the people around me are mostly working class people that come by this time, and they are of this ethnicity that prefer this fresh meal, and so I'll have customers and traffic. And when they start, what do you know? You have a traffic. So sometimes it's not just gut feeling where they go and set up things. It's research, it's validation. So most times I always tell people, don't just start, right? Have a rough idea of what you want to do, right? There's a gut feeling of what makes sense. To use the famous thing, if you don't know what to do yet, do what Jeff did. Write down the pros and the cons of the ideas. Jeff did a very systematic way of, which is Jeff Bezos, by the way. He did a systematic way of starting a business. He wrote, I think I have a lot of different skills, or but which in most, I don't have most passion. I have time. I want to see what I can do. And so he started writing out things of type of businesses he sees around him. No really major pinpoint is solved. But he's like, okay, can I do this? Can I do that? Will I do that? And went from business school. So he had already had prior business analytic knowledge to analyze these businesses, to know which one could he do or not. So based off that, he said, okay, you know what? Selling books may make sense because of the profit margin, and there's only one shop here. And the problem they have is that limited title, the kind of people that are asking me online, asking for multiple title. So if I do this, I do that. I see that's how he started building his plan. And he also went for Walmart. I heard when I read those stories, he literally went to all the shops far for him, far away, like 2 hours away. The ones 1 hour away and the ones 30 minutes away, to see what they sell. Looked at the price and outbid them. And that's why Walmart always outbids everybody till today. The philosophy was, if you don't find the cheapest price in Walmart, then you don't find it anywhere, right? And so, but internally, it's also a smart business model where they are passing the cost appreciation back to you, so that they drive more customers and more volume. They have more decision buying power to the OEMs, which are the people. So it's a very smart, interesting model. But anyway, the truth is that I agree that you don't. So what I'm saying is, have a plan. You don't need to have figured it out 100%. So I'm not saying figure out everything. I'm saying figure out the key things to get started.
Yeah.
Right. And don't be blindsided. Do a market research. If you see any of the major corporate businesses and the large ones who are doing well, you'll find out that that is the first thing they do: a market research, a competitor analysis. And I could give you the things that you do when you do a strategic audit. There's things called Porter's Five Forces. It's a management consultancy agreement. So Porter's Five Forces. There's Vrio analysis. Vrio means very what they calling it? It's very rare, imitable, and the rest, I think. But just type VRIO analysis, because in case it's not coming to my head, but they'll write it on the screen very soon. So there's various analysis that is being done. There's portal five forces. There's even things like Ansoff matrix,
Yeah.
right? There's
Market
Ansoff
entry.
matrix, which also talks about the just STP, which is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. When you do all of these things, right, and do your scoring, you will find where you truly, truly compete when you look at what you want to do. Because if you take all your competitions through those analytical funnels and frameworks, you will see how they are beating you, and you know how you can enter the market.
Mm-hmm.
Then helps you plan what we call your go-to-market strategy, which is how you enter the market,
Yeah.
right? You want to be only online, or do you want to be online and offline? Do you want to be segmented, or do you want to be niche focused, or do you want to be varied? Do you want to do licensing, or do you want to do subscription pricing? Do you want to be um, targeting niche or top value, high value targets, or do you want to be mass market? Is your price unit economics going to be $100,000 dollars per user, right? Or you're targeting $1, what we call the mice versus the hippopotamus, right? So there are multiple of this model, and this is what we founders need to understand when they start building or thinking of an idea, right? Or also get in the market. Like I said, I understand it because I'm also there. I know how we love our products and all, but sometimes you have to take a step back and sit down to really analyze it, which is telling yourself sometimes hard truths about where you are.
Awesome. We've gone full circle. Sorry. I will circle back to like your career decisions. It seems like you made decisions based on what interested you. What are the factors? What drove you to make
All
like for
right.
every move?
I think first things first, if you notice, look at most of all the businesses I have been a part of, from the telco business to printing to investment business, and this one is always first principles, not been done before, or it's not been done before, or it's disrupting an existing market, or it's new and innovative, or is hard and solving a roots underlying problem,
You like
right?
hard things.
Fully, right? And the reasons for me is, I think it's just personally what I enjoy. I enjoy solving hard problems. I
Give
don't
me
know why.
problems.
And
Oh, you
every
want
day are nice, sweeter, easier things to do with my life, but it's those hard ones that will say, I must go there. And I think it's just the interest. It's just a natural thing. Like I see them, and in my mind, I start figuring things out. Like, oh, do this, do that, do that. So that's why most likely for me, this comes
yeah.
naturally when people call me like, oh, I'm in a bind. I'm thinking of what to do. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what bind? I already like the answers are right in front of me. And so when I tell my friends, they're like, oh wow, I didn't think about that. I'm like, okay. Like for me, it's normal, and I think it's just
Wired.
how I was wired exactly. But I think solving these things over and over, learning, failing, because I have had my own shares of failure. So
Like
I wanted to set up a real estate company,
mm,
online real estate search engine. Way back, this is I'm saying not to talk about my age here, but it was way, way back. And I had a friend, Roxy. He built out the front end. We did this. I did the pitch deck. At the earliest time, we're like, we're going to take care of the market. I think at that point in time, when we first spoke to the first real estate guys, they're like, what is this one? People should leave our place. Again, now that people are enjoying these services now, I don't think I like before the property pros and all of these guys came into the market. That was how early I started thinking about that idea. It was again, remember I was 16, 17 at that time, bringing that idea to the market. So there's also a thing about timing. It
yeah.
was the wrongest time for
Yeah.
me bringing that idea again, because when Google Map had not even come to the
Yeah. It's hard.
Google Map making started 2008, just to give you an idea. 2008 was when I even joined in I studied in University of Port Harcourt, so I was a map maker, and we mapped the entire University of
Campus.
Port Harcourt and then other environments as at 2008, which is when I got my certification. It has started, I think, a year or two prior to when it got to us. But just thinking of that time is 2007, and you are going to at that time 2007 when it was still modem dial-up. It was still what is this people? It's not Star. It was Starcoms or something.
Starlinks.
They had this mobile dial-up thing with that phone that you call. That's the kind of place you wanted to go and launch a real online real estate platform. It was bold, it was daring, but
I
I
mean,
did not think through that idea. So it failed. Right. There are a couple of all those kind of things. It was either the wrongest times to launch them or it was too capital intensive for me at those times. So I write the ideas. I've never abandoned them. They're just there. Somehow one day we'll get there.
yeah,
Right. We'll get there. But I think it's also very important sometimes to notice that if you're starting a business and you there's something you need to quickly figure out if you can make money. So when you have your plan, at least a good plan to go with, you test it out like randomly. Let me give this service and see if there's something, will people pay for it? And if nobody is going to pay for it, it's already telling you the truth. Don't put too much energy. Figure out why people are not paying for this. So that initial idea you are starting, and that's one interesting thing I know, the fact that everybody who have started the idea have gone, you will have to refine your idea, and what would work in this your idea would be probably something you thought about and just sidelined, and there's that thing that would save your business. If I've heard this, I've heard it from thousands of CEOs I've spoken to, right, from multiple markets. So what happens is that because business is also experimentation, you're trying to figure out quite a lot of things. So when you have thought about how you want to things, you researched it, you have a bit of the market, you also need to start experimenting in the approaches you would take, right? If things are now not working, move quick, change here, try this and adopt this. And that fast pace is why we need people to be quickly on their feet. And if you don't do it well or you don't execute it well, you often will fail.
yeah. So going back to your, I know you've spoken about family, but in all of these things, was it that it just let you whatever you're doing, or what was the even like when you chose geology as a degree,
Yeah.
what was the input? Like let him
So,
just do.
so no, I think I already had told my mom because my sister, one of them was already doing the same with her. My
Oh,
sister
okay.
doing nursing. My other sister did oil and gas. And I said, I'm going to be the one in the middle. I will neither do oil and gas because I didn't want to be doing which side. But I think one interesting thing, me and my dad are very close. Same day, birthday. So
Oh,
yeah, and I just decided, I like the course because I read. So the thing is, I grew up also in the hospital, so I had fair both sides. I read my dad's stuff, I watch it, I go to take his books. I don't know what those reaction all those chemical formations. I don't know what they were. I was
curious.
opening. I was very curious then, but I also was with my mom in the hospital, so I was grew up around the doctors and all. I like both worlds, really, but it also was not, they were not pulling me like that. But because I always spent time in National Geographic, remember I said so,
Oh,
and I
I
was
see.
watching a lot of things. So a lot volcanoes, a lot of those things were where we're showing. So like I like to go to the course that studies things because that became my natural interest, and geology was that course. So I now explained my thought process. Like I don't want to cause a case between fight between my parents or what I like. But here's the safe course that I naturally like. It's between here. It's sadly not in medical, but there's some parts in oil and gas that I can work in oil and gas in case you guys want me
Yeah,
there. But it's not my calling. I think it has not just been an interest. Business just hooky. I think business held me after I joined ISEC. So I thank ISEC for that.
yeah. But the cost though, like I'm curious, like how did you find it, and how has it even shaped the way you look at the world? That's geology. Like, how did you find it? Because you just enter school and started doing business. I didn't know about
So let me tell you about interesting. So the interesting thing was that we got into geology studying. I studied the geology, and I don't want to, because I think I'm at on camera, and I don't want to put a particular persons or people on blast, but I think for me, to show how bad it was, is my remedials and the things I learned were the things I used to pass, not what I studied. And it's not really the fault of the lecturers, because the lecturers themselves were not even in the school. There was a fight. The lecturers who had the highest, I think we had the highest professors, they left because they were already, they were not small people.
Mhm.
They're like senior managers or owners of oil and gas businesses, right? So them taking their time to come to the school is a lot, right? Because these are actual people who run million naira, $1 million type businesses. One actually had a Chevron, he's the Chevron chair. Or like, so there's this Chevron facility that trains oil and gas people, and he's the chair of that facility. So imagine that kind of credibility where Chevron globally is a global institution, it's not just a Nigerian institution. Chevron globally rewards you with that kind of position, and you're like a professor.
Mhm.
So you get to that point where there's no nonsense. Like, it's not, the school is not paying you, that it's not because of money, right? Because you are paid in you're paid in a lot of money. So you're doing this because you want to do it. But I think they had some issues. Really didn't get the gist of what it
Yeah.
was. And so most of them left. Like, they just left. And so sometimes it was TAs, some came here and there. So it was a bit rough. So I wasn't getting trained. But the
National
times I
Geographic.
got trained, I loved it.
Oh,
And
okay.
unfortunately, when I'm speaking to my friend who is in the US, who was studying geology with me, we're in year one. I think our first field trip in year one was it Uturu? I think in Uturu, one of those places in Abia. So when we were studying, I was telling you, oh, we're looking at the compass. I was seeing what they were doing in year one when they were drawing up topographical maps, mapping the canyon. And I was so jealous. But like, so you could see like they were even talking about, by year two they were on satellites. It took us to like final year. There by year two. So like, they were doing and again, another crazy thing, there was a course called paleontology where it was it was difficult because the only person that could teach that course, she had to move around because she's like
Yeah, high demand.
she's in high demand. She had to move around. So that's another thing we had to study. But when we're seeing these rocks, we're not, when you're talking about, oh, these fossils were existing million years ago, you're looking at the rock, you're like, I mean, we should, but when you have them, and my friend showed me a video of how they will slice the rocks and show you the actual fossils inside of the rocks. We couldn't do that because we needed something like mass spectrography, and
We
those things
didn't
are
have.
very expensive,
Yeah.
right? So, but we kind of made it work anyhow. So it wasn't a bad experience. I'm just saying that our learning wasn't as smooth as it is. So those times when we didn't find or see lectures, I traveled. I went to University of Calabar to stay with my friends and do business, run around. So yes, so part of those times allowed me, I think by my schedule, allowed me to have time to do a lot of other different things. I think is that going to
No,
be
it's fine. It's
a
fine.
good answer to your question,
It's
because
okay. I can see the passion in like the what do you call it, the rocks and all of that, right? Of course, the environment gave what it could give, right? But the fact that you could see follow up with your colleague in another part of the world and be excited about what they're learning just showed that it didn't stop at
yes,
TV. It was
it's just
actually
a
stuff
natural curiosity for me.
that and if you tomorrow night you might be doing something in that in that regard, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't count it out at all.
Yeah,
At all.
so trading minerals or something, or
I don't count it out.
yeah, so that's um back to your upbringing, I know that, so I don't know the particular points, but I know that, like, of course, your hand, like, stuff happened to it. I don't know if it's an injury or you're born.
Oh, I grew up with L palsy. This has just been corrective surgeries.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, did that, because I know that it's like you were just going on, like, in fact, more than person will gets
No,
like,
so I think for me is that I think, when you are growing up in school, you get to hear many people talk about your condition, and me, I'm like, it's people that are bothered, right? Maybe they have this case of, I was born this way. It's not my fault. If I'm going to take any matter up, it's not my parents. It's obviously God. And well, I'm not going to, right? This is how it was. I make do of it. So, but of course, sometimes when you are growing up, young people, of course, they will make jokes. You cannot stop that. But if if I took offense, I think it would have been bad. Because for me, at the point, it started even becoming a nickname for me. And I accepted it.
nickname. Okay.
I accepted me. They used to call me Sicko. Yeah, but
What?
then I accepted it and it became fun and we laughed about
Oh,
it.
really?
Yes, I again never had a problem about it.
Oh, that means a strong mind.
I've never had the problem. And so all over the time, people just kind of know that this guy, you can't even get to him like this way. Because sometimes I'll just like, okay, whatever you say, right? But then there are sometimes I would react. So you never
Oh,
know when I would. And I think just that's maybe because I'm very unpredictable. Most people kind of don't do nonsense around me. But yeah, growing up in secondary school, I think a lot of people just stopped. At the
after they
point, they
don't.
just stopped. I think maybe it's just the fact that they knew I didn't give a damn, really, right? So they stopped. And I moved on in life. Maybe also that's how I face life. I've also faced tough challenges. And I'll move on, right? If things, when you get to plan and look forward to that application and you're hopeful. I don't do that anymore. I sign it. I'm like, if I get it, if I don't get it, move on. Because I think it's the hope, right? When you have hope to something
Exactly.
and you sit down, maybe go to church, you pray, or you go to the mosque, you pray, whichever one you do, and then you see that there's a way they write the rejection letter. If once you open the mail, you just know, I've lost it, right? There's a way they just the
Yeah,
particular
from
way,
the
right?
headline,
From the heading, you just know,
from
yeah, you have
subjects.
lost.
Yeah.
It's not even. Sometimes they won't write the congratulations there, just so that you will read it because you want to tell you, hey, congratulations, you made it this far.
Yeah.
You just don't say, you know what, close the email, like I move on. And so it's that hope that kills people, right? When you hope something. So I mean, I stopped hoping. I'm like, if it works for me, great. If it doesn't work for me, no hard feelings, right? But I try to also not just apply randomly, right? I look out for things and weigh myself. There's also one interesting thing I might say on this show. Most people like to say that a lot of funding is going to fintech, right? Have you actually checked the grant programs that exist? Literally almost all the grant programs are going to agriculture, health, and real industry. And they are also competitively not like small
Yeah,
amounts.
sizable
They are
amounts.
sizable amounts, $250,000, 100,000, 140. I see a lot of those things. Every time I'll go, I see grant, I'll just I, so in a way, it's actually a knowledge gap, which I have also noticed that sometimes it's just a case of the knowledge hierarchy between different groups creates a forms like this is more. I agree. I won't say that there isn't a large number of fintechs, but need to tell you that it's also a big market as much, right? And the reason is because it's a foundation to literally every other thing, right? When you can pay and you can connect, you can open much more. But then to build bigger businesses, it's not in the fintechs. I think we should do less of it. We should do more of infrastructure problems. And it brings to mind something also recently, right, that happened. We might, I mean, I'm here, but I'm also very angry. I lost a friend, TJ.
Yeah.
And I posted something on Twitter and asked, why don't hospitals accept emergencies? I know that they have repealed the law. There's a law that has been passed that they must accept these patients. But a lot of hospitals, I mean, over 400 comments, and different people have had the same experience. But the issue have been a case of identity. I think, as a practitioner told me, how do we identify
Right.
this person so that, and because they're a business, honestly, even while I'm paying, but I do understand that while we won't do this for free, whether
Yeah.
you like it or not, healthcare is not for free, except it is. But in the US, what they've done is pass a law called EMATA, it's EMATA, where is EMT, EMATA, EMATA, I think is one of those two. But what it does is that the government has Medicaid fund, and the Medicaid fund is given to hospitals. Now, the goal of the Medicaid fund is for emergency provisions. Now, whether the person is in the system or with the HMO or with the this thing, the goal is stabilize, right, and then transfer. So all hospitals are funded through that Medicaid aid for triage and emergency systems, and then some ambulances that are provided, so that their job is to be the first care, right? Stabilize the patient enough from a life-threatening side to a non-life-threatening side, then take it from there. So that's first thing, identity. The second is infrastructure. We've seen in some videos whereby a boy died because there was no bronchoscope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to even go down, because I'm also in the part of venture building, I have had opportunities to speak, and my mom also has been in the hospitals, and I grew up in the hospital my life. I have seen that Nigeria's healthcare is on toothpick. It's not a joke. Literally, there are basic things that a lot of these doctors don't have. And so when they do what they do, it's almost like miracle. And that's why you can see they are being snapped up by foreign companies. So these are the kind of problems that exist. There are a lot infrastructure, payments, then also cases of I mean, some startups like ARA, which is emergency response, 8 Medical, some
Yeah.
of all these guys are mobilizing and putting their vehicles and they've been doing quite a lot, right? And saving lives. But there's flying doctors in many of all these startups. But the truth is, the problem is massive. And it is one of the key reasons why I think there needs to be more funding for healthcare. Like when I say more funding, I mean heavy funding, billions of dollar funding kind of thing.
Beyond the grants.
That is the kind of amount that needs to be pumped into our healthcare. Actually, like that is the gap, billions of dollars gap. And it's not even like, oh, we're making figures up. Because if you sit down to map out, right here from the studio to the nearest hospital, it's going to be at least 1,000 to 2,000 meters. Ideally, this thing should be somewhere around a 500 meters. But we have a 2,000, that's a 2 kilometer from here before you see the Reddit or Evercare, which is not, I mean, in case someone is trying to know where the studio is, let me know, let him know. But literally 2 kilometers from here to is where the Evercare major hospital is, if you do that math on Google. So imagine where there are emergencies. How do you get someone to that place quickly? So these are just some interesting things. I've just been gathering the feedback. I want to take as many comments from both people and put it together into something I will share to public. Because this recently has been, I'll not say my comments on public space, but whatever happens, we will get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that case. But so more funding needs to go to a lot of sectors. The second sector, like a friend of mine was talking about, is hardware. hardware
Yeah,
startups,
that's
right?
right.
Hardware and build, like, it's more hardware and inbuilt systems. Now, interestingly, I know that Unilag has a CSAT production system. But recently I was talking to a friend and he was telling me that some of all those cats production things, some of them were kept in lock and key, right? In other places, there's 3D labs. They have 3D printers now, thank God. But in other places, in far back when I was in Sussex, it's great. So Sussex is a research university. Now, what it means is that the students are researching and the data are being applied in real life. Now, the engineering lab, they always have a thematic sponsor. Airbus and Lockheed were fighting head to head on who will sponsor that university. And I looked at it and I just laughed. But you know what? Guess what? Because those students are building new forms of engines, and Airbus will go to meet those people and hire them or license it from the university, from students, and that they are making money directly because their research is directly imputed. We need that to happen in our universities today, but also that we need more inbuilt system production, manufacturing, industrialization, right? We need more of those systems because those heavy problems are what we are not seeing them, but they are problems that are very important. And so it goes back to another thing. I don't want to go back to where we were, but there's this thing called the five U's, right? If it's urgent, a problem is urgent, meaning if that problem is not solved urgently, it becomes basic. For example, if you for there's an overload of power here, you need to put off this thing urgently, right? That's an urgent problem. If you don't, what happens? These bulbs blow. So there are some natural problems that exist in our society today that are urgent, that need to be solved for, right? That businesses need to tap into. There are some problems that are unavoidable. And unavoidable problems are taxes. You cannot avoid paying taxes except you run away from taxes, but you cannot avoid debt. That's why the bio health industry as a whole exists to try and solve aging, right? And some have been making progress. There's neuropathy bio treatment. There's creams to solve wrinkles. All of those industries have existed because of aging. So that's an unavoidable problem because everybody will die and everybody will pay their taxes or not. But those are existing problems and solutions built out of them. So there are, if you check that framework, you will see other
Other
interesting
issues.
things. So sometimes when the business is thinking about it, you need to think about it from that framework.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very helpful. I mean, there's a lot. It just looks like you see an issue and you start researching
And
and
I
then
dive deep into
dive
it.
into it and
Yes.
you find
And I'll find those things.
yeah.
That's me.
And I think like going back, I know you said that your response to life is just like innate or I mean also because it's just like you just go through life and you're just going through different like just solving problems and just going head on. I mean is it internal strength or from also based on like the I don't know teachings and this thing like you've gotten home, right? Because I'm just looking at that.
Where is, I think, where will you say where the resilience comes from?
Yes.
Hmm. I think it is a very interesting question. I don't know. To be very honest. But I can tell you for a fact that I have a very big hunger. Like it's burning to fix things. And like I said, when I look at things, I'm 10,000 thinking on it. So if I carry my idea book or books, because I think at this time,
Books.
it's a lot. So like I'll start. So what I do at pastime when I am free and I'm bored, I'll take up and just think of something around the ideas and problems I've thought of and just start writing as deep, formulating strategy. I just keep it some. I won't run it because I'm one human being.
Yeah.
right? But maybe they'll devise something that can clone ourselves in the future. Maybe, who knows, right? Since
Yeah.
AI is coming to take take everyone's job.
I get.
But to be very serious, I don't know why, but for me, like I said, solving hard problems excite me.
Yes.
There are other problems to be solved, yes, but I feel that somebody will handle that part. But sometimes solving hard problems or be the first person to attempt to crack something excites me, and so you'll find me there. And I'm not always saying I'm the smartest. I will never do that. I think most people say you're too humble, and I say, well, because I know myself, I know my limits. I am not the smartest person in the room. Neither am I the most charismatic, or maybe the most brilliant genius. What I know is that I know how to figure things out and drive it and take ownership and drive it till the end. Right. So you would see that I'll take it up on my head and keep doing a lot of breakdown research, follow up. And for me, also because of lessons learned, right? I grew up in a very good family, fairly lovely family, no issues. I don't think I would say we had some struggles, maybe once or twice, which is typical family problems. But I think for me, it's just a case where because I like to take a risk, I believe that whatever happens, happens. And when it happens to me, which, like I said, when I fail, um, a lot of people will process it with a case of feeling bad. I maybe I get down maybe max 2 days. The next day you see me, I'm like so I'm like I'm so hyperactive, right? When people know how I get things done. If you've worked with me, you know how I like to move quick, all of that. So it's part in it, part environment growing
Yeah.
up, and just that hunger to succeed or drive or do something. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best way I would say it.
That's fine. Finally, um, I mean, how do you what does success mean, right? And I mean, how has it evolved? Because you will never stop wanting hard problems. But how was that?
Success for me, like I always tell you, I'm not successful. Yeah, you people keep nobody wants to believe this thing,
And what does it mean?
and
So,
I
okay, what will it mean for
stay
you to say?
adamant on it.
And
I
what
am
does
not.
success mean? That's it. When would
Success for
you?
me will mean if we can get uh, maybe it's a crazy the same BHAG, right? Big hairy audacious goal. But for me, I've actually had a goal to build a conglomerate, right? Of businesses that change lives,
Yeah.
right? And success for me will be if I can get over 1,000 leaders who have the same thought or mindset or activation or resource to be able to train up to 100,000 um, business owners maybe in the next 5 years,
Mm.
right? And we're like putting massive resources into key basic things that are lacking, from agriculture to water to infrastructure, actual construction and infrastructure, to housing and
Yeah.
real estate, right? So that it's affordable,
Mm-hmm.
truly affordable, not just talk or inflationary driven up and for ability, like
Yeah.
proper affordable homes, agriculture whereby for foods and production systems. And so just to give you context, we import fish, right?
Yeah.
Um, Almost 1.8 million tons. We export fish to places like Switzerland from the research I did. And the company has been in existence in 1990. I want to mention their name on this place, but companies are exporting fish and we are importing fish. Like when you look at this, you're like, what the hell? And we have the aquatic nature. I'm talking the octopuses, the um, the calamaris, all the things that we import are here. So what's going on? So these are like interesting hard problems I want us to go and find in maritime, in our ocean, in livestock, in in actual infrastructures, right?
Yeah.
We have so many bad roads. We have so many bad access points whereby we can actually build them if somebody would we have to, right? At one point in time, there's also cases for providing centers for more youth activity. So I need places where youths can converge, right? And be so it's also because growing up, we had a lot of places to play. Now there's nowhere. Like if you look at it realistically, there's actually few places youths can come out to play, hang out, rest, right? More public places than maybe private silo spots, but like open spots where people can come relax and play. So there are a lot of things to change,
Yeah. Thank
right? I'm in a group right now where um me and Adaya, which is of Eden, we
Yeah.
had this interesting group where we talk about to how we can improve the city. Now, things we've done are been going to the beach, clean up. We've just been doing, and again, for us, we're not saying, hey, it needs to be a battle, but quietly, we've been doing this thing. Nobody has
Oh, really? For
just
how long?
over a year now. We meet sometimes, we hang out, we have different companies, just doing positive things to see what we can do. It's in trainings, I remember lightning, and I joined it and I found it interesting, right? Because people think like I'm thinking. So who knows? Maybe when we get to have this opportunity, we could start building greener cities. We could start. The people complain about heat in Lagos. Check, do check to your left. When is the last time you've seen a plant in your area? That plant provides oxygen, sucks out the CO2, provides oxygen to you, cleaner, greener air, means more ventilation of air to you, means less heat, right? We're literally building metal and concrete coffins for us every day because people are buying lines. And I'll use this opportunity to speak about the real estate crisis. I'm sorry, I will say it.
You were here late
Maybe you can edit it out, but
because you're looking for house.
yes, I am looking for a place, and it is now frustrating, right? Imagine people who are working class people can't find a property to stay.
Because
I
increase your
wonder
rent.
if how people are staying or even living today, because people are like the rents are being increased, not for homes that are just newly built, but even
Old
old
homes.
ones.
Yeah.
There is no sense towards the economic thing, and it's heading to a crisis. I'm seeing it. I've spoken about it, and I know it to get to a head to head. And when it get there, we shall see. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's very insightful. Thank you so much, Tokwe, for your insights. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate. Thank you for having me.